Hello, everybody. Long time no see. I was doing a lot of other things, but I'm here back with Ankita because tomorrow is CUET PG exam. So Ankita and me thought we'll do it together. Ankita, are you ready?
Yes.
We have a lot of amazing questions today, don't we?
Yeah.
All our friends are ready, eagerly waiting, I'm sure. So this is day 5. It was a 5-day crash course that we did. Wow. I hope you're all ready for it, the exam. You don't have to be stressed. Relax, enjoy, and go and write the exam. You should tell yourself, yes, I will remember everything. It will be easy. Don't worry. And also don't guess too much. A few questions, 2 or 3 questions you can guess, but not more than that. Okay? Very good. Now choose the wrongly matched pair. The Cenci, is it by Shelley? It is a play by Shelley. Pippa Passes, is it by Robert Browning? Yes, it is by Robert Browning. It shows Philippa or Pippa walking on the stage, talking to different people. They are all corrupt people. The Borderers, is it by Byron? Remember all these writers, important, their works. The Borderers, is it by Byron? Byron wrote Manfred, Sardana Palace, Cain, Marino, Faliero, so many plays. But Borderers is by Wordsworth. Coleridge wrote Remorse. Coleridge's play Remorse. Borderers by Wordsworth. Remember these. Cenci by Shelley. Shelley wrote many verse plays. Shelley wrote Unbound. Prometheus Unbound. The Cenci. Hellas. So one more is there. Swellfoot the Tyrant. It is about Oedipus. Okay, will you remember now? Keats wrote Otho the Great. Right. Now, Ankita, anything more you want to add?
So The Borderers is the only play by Wordsworth. So the thing is, we know Shelley, Browning, Byron. We know them primarily as poets. But here, as I have analyzed the PYQs, they have also focused on the minor works of major writers and poets. So do look up the minor works also. Not only the major works, but the minor works as well.
Very good. Thank you, Ankita, for that tip. Which novel among the following is subtitled The Study of Provincial Life? You can see George Eliot here. Is it Mary Barton, Cranford? They are not by George Eliot. Is it Middlemarch or Adam Bede? Adam Bede is an early novel by George Eliot. George Eliot is Mary Ann Evans. Middlemarch, A Study of Provincial Life. It has the character Dorothea Brooke. George Eliot depicted Warwickshire, a village, in her novels. Ankita was teaching for 2 hours, speaking the CUET PG people. So I think I will explain the first few questions and give Ankita a break. That's why I'm explaining everything. So Middlemarch is set in Warwickshire. It is a later novel. It has a lot of political events set against it. Dorothea Brooke is one main character. She has a foil character, Tertius Lydgate. Dorothea Brooke is a very strong woman, a new woman. Okay, and some political and social events are set against this novel. Other novels of George Eliot, mature novels, later novels are Romola, Felix Holt, Daniel Deronda. Remember all this. Mary Barton and Cranford are by Elizabeth Gaskell. Right. Mary Barton is set against Industrial Revolution. Mary Barton, A Tale of Manchester Life. That is a full title. Adam Bede is the first novel by George Eliot. Ankita, is that correct? Anything else?
Yes. So whenever you are reading any work, be it a poetry, drama, novel, anything, please be very careful about the entire title. Okay? The subtitles are very important and they're often asked as match the following, like which subtitle will go with which novel or which poetry or which drama. So be very careful about the subtitles also. Yeah.
Another thing, Ankita, related to what you said is sometimes the question will not be what is the subtitle, but it will be like which novel by George Eliot is about a weaver of Ravelot? Answer is Silas Marner. And the subtitle is The Weaver of Ravelot. The subtitle will come as the question. Because you know the subtitle, you will be able to guess.
Yes.
Like that they ask.
Yes, and this just reminded me of a question. There was this question in an entrance paper only, like which novel among the following comments on the progress of a parish boy? And the answer was Oliver Twist, because it's there in subtitle only. Oliver Twist or the parish boy's progress.
Yeah,
like that.
That is how they ask. Right.
Yes.
Now, Ran is a 1985 epic action drama film directed, edited, and co-written by Akira Kurosawa, the famous Japanese director. This movie is based on a play by Shakespeare. Which is the play? It is King Lear. Kurosawa has also made the famous movie The Seven Samurai, which is based on Macbeth. You all might know Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon. Rashomon is another very famous movie where a murder story is told from the perspective of 9 different people. So 9 different perspectives. It is like an early movie, but it has elements of postmodernism, multiple perspectives. There are no single stories, that kind of elements. Yeah. Dash is considered the first critical account of the poems and early plays of Shakespeare. The first critical account. Totel's Miscellany, Palladis Tamia, Consolations of Philosophy, and Astrophel and Stella. Ankita, is it Palladis Tamia?
Yes, it is Palladis Tamia or Wit's Treasury by Francis Mayes.
There, for the first time, somebody is talking about Shakespeare. He mentions Shakespeare's plays, 12 of them, I think. And he also, I'm not sure of that, he talks about Shakespeare's sonnets as sugared sonnets. Expressionism is a modernist movement. It's actually an avant-garde movement, contributed to modernism, initially in poetry and painting. Now the question is, where did Expressionism originate? Expressionism, did it originate in France, England, Germany, or Spain? It is in Germany that Expressionism originated. Impressionism originated in France. Expressionism came in French drama, movies. Georg Kaiser was an important expressionist playwright. And there were movies like Nosferatu, The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, Metropolis. They were all important expressionist plays. Expressionist plays used dark colors and evoked the reality of the subconscious mind or dreams, rather than focus on the conscious mind or ego. Did you understand? Right. There are some expressionist plays in English. Ankita, would you talk about them?
I don't know exactly the...
Eugene O'Neill.
Oh, Eugene O'Neill. And yes, and what is very fascinating about this movement is how it was not really interested in expressing the outside or the external world, but it delved deep into the unconscious, and it talks about emotions, the emotions which we ourselves are also unaware about. So that's a very interesting facet of
Most
this movement.
famous expressionist works are Emperor Jones by Eugene O'Neill, also Hairy Ape and Strange Interlude, where Strange Interlude, some element is there, very importantly in Hairy Ape and Emperor Jones, and also Elmer Rice's Adding Machine. That is also expressionism. The most, another very famous expressionist is August Strindberg.
He wrote The Red Room. I think.
And
There.
also Miss Julie, Ghost Sonata. Right. In August Strindberg's Dream play, the protagonist is the daughter of Indra, the Indian god. Okay. Woman in the 19th Century is a book by an early feminist of the 19th century. She was an American and she was part of the transcendentalist movement. Is it Elaine Showalter, Judith Butler, Margaret Fuller, or Susan Gubar? It is. Ankita, your turn.
Yes, it was written by Margaret Fuller and originally published in July in the Dial magazine as The Great Lawsuit. So when it was published in the Dial magazine, it was known as The Great Lawsuit, this work.
Dear friends, Margaret Fuller was the first editor of the Dial. And let me please remind you, please get a copy of the American Literature Encyclopedia's 2 volumes and also Indian Literature Encyclopedias. They are the most comprehensive books on these subjects and the easiest, the most accessible. Whoever you are, even if you cannot read big books because of lack of time, or even if you find difficulty in understanding the English language, whoever you are, you will find these books very, very useful and they will transform your life. Which among the following is a revenge tragedy? Philaster, The White Devil, The Night of the Burning Pestle, A Chaste Maid in Cheapside. These are all 17th century plays. Philaster is a tragicomedy by Bowman and Fletcher. The Night of the Burning Pestle is a city comedy. So is A Chaste Maid in Cheapside. Ankita, is The White Devil the answer?
Yes, The White Devil is a revenge tragedy
by
But-
Webster. Webster wrote The White Devil and the Duchess of Malfi, 2 revenge tragedies. The White Devil is a story of Vittoria Corombona, a very devilish woman who falls in love with the Duke of Bracciano, and both of them together kill Vittoria's husband and Bracciano's wife. Finally, they are killed by their enemies. Pearl poem uses the technique of dash to express the narrator's lamentation of his loss of pearl. It is an allegorical poem, but allegory is not the answer here. Is it flashback? Is it dream vision? Is it anthropomorphism or none of these? What is the answer, Ankita? Is it dream vision?
Yes, here this poem uses the technique of dream vision, where this father falls asleep and then he sees a dream and laments about his loss of a pearl.
It is a 14th century medieval poem. Pearl, purity, patience. It is written by somebody, we don't know his name, it is anonymous. So we call the author Pearl Poet. Ankita, please read. It's a small question, you can read. Your voice won't be strained.
London is a poem by Dash, Alexander Pope, Samuel Johnson, John Gay, or Shelley. So it is actually an imitation of a satire of Juvenal. So who wrote this poem, London?
London is written by Samuel Johnson. London and Vanity of Human Wishes. Both are by Samuel Johnson, satires. However, London, there is a poem by William Blake also. London 1802 is by William Wordsworth. Right. Juvenalian satire it is. That means satire that attacks people for their follies, not laughing at people. Satire that laughs at people is called Horatian satire. Who propounded the Alankara school of poetry? You know that there are 8 schools of poetry. Rasa, Dhwani, Alankara being important ones. Alankara school, is it Bharatamuni, Bhamaha, Abhinavagupta, or none of these? Bharatamuni is associated with the Rasa school. Bharatamuni's commentator is Abhinavagupta, who wrote Abhinava Bharati. Anandavardhana is associated with Dhwani. So, Alankara, is it Bhamaha, Ankita?
Yes, it was Bhamaha who propounded the school of poetry.
Now, who coined the term Dalit? Is it Mahatma Gandhi, B.R. Ambedkar, Jyotirao Phule, or Kanshiram? Ankita, I don't know the answer. Is it Mahatma
Yes, it is
Gandhi?
Jyotirao Phule who coined
Oh,
this term. It's a Marathi term, Dalit, and it was coined by Jyotirao Phule. In the
Mahatma Gandhi
late
coined the term Harijan. Yes, Ankita, you were saying something.
So in the late 1880s, the Marathi word Dalit was used by Jyotirao Phule for the outcasts and untouchables who were oppressed and broken in the Hindu society. And Dalit is a vernacular form for the Sanskrit Dalita, who is oppressed or who is trodden upon by people.
Wow. Thank you, Ankita, for telling us that. Mahatma Jyotirao Phule and his wife Savitribai Phule were very important reformers and educators. She established, Savitribai Phule in 1848, established a girls' school in Maharashtra. Right. So it is Jyotirao Phule. The Strange Case of Billy Biswas is a novel by, is it Amit Chaudhary, Upamanyu Chatterjee, Arun Joshi, or Arun Tejpal? Tarun Tejpal, sorry. Should be Tarun Tejpal. Answer is not that. Answer is Arun Joshi. The Strange Case of Billy Biswas is a novel by Arun Joshi, where Billy Biswas is an American educated Indian man. But even though he gets high education, he leaves all the modern life, goes and lives in the forest in Madhya Pradesh because he is fed up with modernity. Arun Joshi has also written The Foreigner, The Last Labyrinth. He was a very brilliant writer. And Arun Joshi won the Sahitya Academy Award for Last Labyrinth. Isn't it, Ankita?
Yes.
Okay. Would you like to read?
Castle Rackrent by Maria Edgeworth is an example of a and dash. So what is this novel an example of? Gothic novel, historical novel, picaresque novel, or autobiography?
Is it Gothic novel, Ankita?
No, it's an historical novel.
It is a historical novel, yes. Castle Rackrent, Belinda, Ormond. These are novels by Maria Edgeworth. She was a contemporary of Jane Austen. Julian Barnes is a contemporary novelist of the late 20th century. He has written Flaubert's Parrot, England, England, The Sense of an Ending, right, Ankita? England, England shows us a world which is dash. England, England is actually a theme park there. Is it post-human world, hyperreal world, utopian world, or dystopian world? Is it hyperreal, Ankita?
Yes. And Jean-Francois Lyotard commented on this novel, and he also agreed that the world this novel shows, it's hyperreal.
Like Disneyland. The ultimate example that Baudrillard talked about is, hyperreality is Baudrillard.
Baudrillard.
Not Lyotard, yeah. Baudrillard talked about hyperreality, and he gave the example of the Disneyland. And also Julian Barnes's England, England. Sir Roger de Coverley is a fictional character created by Dash. It's a PYQ. Agatha Christie, Joseph Addison, Francis Bacon, or Arthur Conan Doyle. All of you will know. Sir Roger de Coverley is by, Ankita, tell them.
It's a character created by Joseph Addison, the famous essayist of the 18th century.
In the Spectator Papers. He is a member of the Spectator Club. Joseph Addison created the Spectator Club. Sir Roger de Coverley, the Spectator himself. The Spectator is also a character. Then Andrew Freeport, Captain Sendry.
Will Honeycomb.
These are the characters. The Tatler had Tatler Club. Trumpet Club. The Tatler had Trumpet Club. Okay. So Joseph Addison is here. He's often remembered with Richard Steele. The Refugee is a play by Girish Karnad, Asif Currimbhoy, Vijay Tendulkar, or Mahesh Dattani. I think it is Asif Currimbhoy. Isn't it, Ankita?
It's a play by Asif Currimbhoy.
Asif Currimbhoy has also written another famous play, Goa, which is about Goa being taken over by the Indian government. Asif Currimbhoy was a very prolific writer. He has written Dole Drummers, Sonar Bangla. Yes. The book Black Skin, White Masks. It is a 1952 book by philosopher, psychiatrist Homi Bhabha, Paul Gilroy, Frantz Fanon, or Henry Louis Gates Jr. Black Skin, White Masks, everybody might know, is by Frantz Fanon. And which is the other important work by Fanon, Ankita?
The Wretched of the Earth.
It was written in 1961, at the year in which he died. He was suffering from cancer and he dictated that book to some people. He was lying on the floor of a flat in France at that time. Frantz Fanon.
And Jean-Paul Sartre wrote the preface to that work. Wrote the preface to The Wretched of the Earth.
Black Skin, White Masks is about the relationships of black men and black women and with white men and white women. He's writing about the psychology of racism here. He's talking about how racism and colonialism affect people psychologically. Black Skin, White Masks. Choose the wrongly matched pair. Alice Bell, Emily Bronte. We are dealing with pen names here. O. Henry, William Sidney Porter. Eric Arthur Blair, William Golding. That is wrong. Mary Ann Evans, George Eliot. Eric Arthur Blair is who, Ankita?
George Orwell.
George Orwell. It is not William Golding. Eric Arthur Blair is George Orwell. Victoria Lucas is Sylvia Plath. Yeah. Anatomy of Criticism, 4 essays, is a book by Dash that attempts to formulate an overall view of the scope, theory, principles, and techniques of literary criticism derived exclusively from literature. Who is the author of Anatomy of Criticism, 1957 book? This laid the foundations of myth criticism. Is it Robert Burton, Northrop Frye, I.A. Richards, or J.C. Ransom? Ankita, is it the Canadian writer Northrop Frye?
Yes, it is Northrop Frye who wrote this book, Anatomy of Criticism.
Myth criticism deals with literature as based on recurring patterns of myth. Myth criticism understands that literature is based on recurring patterns of myth. Anatomy of Criticism is a collection of 4 essays. Ankita, now we have Katha Sarit Sagara. The Katha Sarit Sagara is a famous 11th century collection of Indian legends, histories, and folk tales as retold in Sanskrit. Is it retold by Somadeva, Kalhana, Chanakya, or Banabhatta? Everything you can imagine in Indian Sanskrit traditions, we have in our Indian Literature Encyclopedia. Please get a copy and start studying for your exams. It is extremely important. Katha Sarit Sagara, is it by Somadeva, Ankita?
Yes, it is by Somadeva.
What did Chanakya write? Arthashastra.
Kalhana wrote Raja Tarangini.
Raja Tarangini. Correct. Kalhana was a Kashmiri poet. Who wrote Ted Hughes, The Unauthorized Life? Is it C.M. Baura, Jonathan Bate, Frank Kermode, or none of these? I don't know, Ankita, what is the answer?
This work was written by Jonathan Bate. So Jonathan Bate is actually a very popular critic whose most important work is Romantic Ecology, Wordsworth and the Environmental Tradition. That's actually the most important work of Bate, which has come in many exams before. And they gave this question just so you know that there are such critics whose works are read very widely, and you should know the names of these critics. Jonathan Bate.
Yeah, C.M. Baura also wrote something about romanticism.
The Romantic Imagination.
Correct. The Romantic Imagination. Frank Kermode wrote The Sense of an Ending. It is a critical work. The novel is by Julian Barnes.
Frank Kermode also wrote The Romantic Image. That's also a very important work.
Yes. Choose the wrongly matched pair. Toxophilus, Roger Ascham. Toxophilus is a book on archery. An Apology for Poetry, Philip Sidney. That is correct. A Defense of Rhyme, Thomas Lodge is wrong. A Defense of Rhyme is not by Thomas Lodge. Who wrote it, Ankita?
It is by Samuel Daniel. And it was written in a response to Thomas Campion's Observations in the Art of English Poesy. It's a tract which attacked rhyme. And in response to that, Samuel Daniel wrote A Defense of Rhyme.
Very good. The Art of Rhetoric is by Thomas Wilson. Thomas Wilson was one of the Tudor critics, Tudor trio they were called. Who among the following had distinguished between open and closed texts? Open text and closed text. You can read the options and explain, Ankita.
So, who was it who made this distinction? Raymond Williams, Roland Barthes, Terry Eagleton, or Stanley Fish? It is Roland Barthes, who in his work From Work to Text, here he made this distinction where, according to him, open texts are those where we can make a wide range of interpretations, texts which are open-ended, which gives the readers the freedom to interpret the text in his own way. Closed texts are those which give a definite interpretation and the reader is not given much freedom to choose or to interpret. Also, Humbert the Eco was the one who, before Roland Barthes, had talked about this distinction of open and closed texts, and later it was taken up and talked about by Roland Barthes in his work From Work to Text.
Wow, that was a lecture in itself, Ankita. Thank you very much. Roland Barthes, cigarette smoking is injurious to health. So, CUET PG students and everybody else, you can look up these authors quickly in 5-10 minutes. Go to bed early. Tomorrow is your exam. We wish you all the very best. You will do well. The most important key to doing well in an exam is relaxing. Read the question properly. Don't hurry. And be ready in every way. All your things that you have to take, everything, sleep well. Don't mess up because of such reasons. Don't go to the exam hall without having breakfast. So relax, have a good time, and God be with you all. Ankita, you can give them your wishes and tips.
So carry your admit card, carry a transparent water bottle, carry a proper transparent pen, carry any medicine if you need them urgently, and stay relaxed, wear light clothes, okay? Stay relaxed, stay focused, stay hydrated, don't panic. Everything is going to be just fine. Now have a good nap, eat light food, and all the very best.
Thank you. Ankita, you are such a comprehensive person. You give everything.